Today, we are talking about the orchid mantis, where beauty meets deadly precision. These incredible insects are masters of disguise, using aggressive mimicry to blend in with their surroundings and ambush unsuspecting prey. As apex predators in the insect kingdom, orchid mantises are as captivating as they are lethal, boasting a range of adaptations that make them highly effective hunters. Check the description if you are interested to find a document with sources for the images and research papers I used to make this video. In the vast panorama of life, insects stand out as one of the most successful groups of animals on the planet. With over 1 million species described and more discovered every year, they are the most diverse and abundant animals on Earth. So what exactly makes an insect an insect? Well, these fascinating creatures have 3 distinct body parts: a head, a thorax, and an abdomen, along with 3 pairs of legs. They also sport a chitinous exoskeleton, compound eyes, and a pair of antennae. Beyond these shared characteristics, their features can vary dramatically across different lineages, showcasing their incredible diversity. Did you know that insects evolved from crustaceans? This evolutionary relationship places them in the clade Pancrustacea. Looking through this clade, it starts with the superclass Oligostraca. This contains a lot of crustaceans you have probably never heard of. They are all very small and include fish lice and sea shrimp. The next lineage is Multicrustacea. These are the animals you are most likely to think of when you talk about crustaceans: crabs, lobsters, shrimp, and krill, alongside some others you might forget about, such as woodlice and copepods. The remaining lineage diverges first with the class Cephalocariida. This only has 12 species, and are commonly called the horseshoe shrimps. Next is Brachiopoda, containing small freshwater crustaceans like fairy shrimp and clam shrimp. The next class is Remipedia, containing blind crustaceans found in coastal areas with salty underground water. That sounds like a specific habitat, but they have actually been found in every ocean basin that has been searched for them. That then brings us to the final clade on this phylogenetic tree, the subphylum Hexapoda. I listed the attributes of insects earlier. Did you notice how many legs they have? A total of 6. Hexapoda is Greek, literally meaning 6 legs. So insects are hexapods. They are not, however, the only hexapods. The first lineage of hexapods is Protura. Sometimes called coneheads, these tiny animals live in soil and were, until recently, considered insects. They have since been moved to the most basal of the hexapods. Next, we have 2 closely related orders. Dipleura, or the 2-pronged bristletails, are distinctive for the pair of long appendages on the end of their body. Collembola, or the springtails, are the most diverse of the non-insect hexapods. And then finally, we come to the insects in the class Insecta. Insects are divided into many different orders, each representing a unique branch of this diverse group. The most ancestral of these are the bristletails in Archaeognatha and the silverfish in Zygentoma. These groups are distinctive because they diverged from other insects before the evolution of wings. The earliest winged insects, such as dragonflies, damselflies, and mayflies, belong to 2 orders grouped together in the clade Paleoptera. As I described in my video on flight, these insects have a unique method of flying. Their flight muscles are attached directly to their wings, allowing them to control all 4 independently, giving them unparalleled maneuverability in the air. From here, insects split into 2 large clades. While I won't delve into the full phylogeny of insects today, I will mention that the clade without mantises includes wasps, lice, true bugs, beetles, butterflies, caddisflies, flies, and fleas, among many others. If you're curious, I've covered part of this clade in my video on fairy flies, so be sure to check that out for more information on the wasps in the order Hymenoptera. The clade we're interested in today is Polyneoptera, defined as those more closely related to grasshoppers than to any of the other orders. Members of the Polyneoptera have a similar life cycle, known as hemimetabolous. In this process, adults lay eggs that hatch into nymphs. Nymphs resemble smaller versions of the adult and grow by shedding their exoskeleton until they reach adulthood. Nymphs can differ from adults in some ways. Most of them don't have wings, and some lineages will have external gills as nymphs, but lose them as an adult. In contrast, other insects follow the holometabolous life cycle, like flies and butterflies. Their eggs hatch into larvae, which look nothing like the adults. These larvae are sometimes known by other names depending on the species, such as caterpillars or maggots. As they grow, they enter the pupa phase, often encasing themselves in a protective cocoon or chrysalis, depending on the species. Inside these pupae, insects undergo a remarkable metamorphosis, emerging as completely transformed adults. These different life cycles are not divided based on the main clades here. All members of Polyneoptera are hemimetabolous, but there are some hemimetabolous insects in other clades as well. Now, back to the phylogeny of the Polyneopterans. The first lineage includes the angel insects in Zooptera, and these are closely related to the earwigs in Dermaptera, famous for the pincer-like cerci on their rear. Next up are the stoneflies in Plecoptera, whose nymphs are often used as indicators of water quality. In Orthoptera, we find the grasshoppers, crickets, and katydids, known for their ability to produce sounds by rubbing their wings or legs together. The next clade features 4 orders. The ice crawlers in Giloblattidae and the gladiators in Mantophasmatidea are each other's closest relatives, even though the gladiators resemble stick insects or mantises, while the ice crawlers look more like cockroaches. The remaining orders here are the web spinners in Embioptera and the stick insects in Phasmatidea, the latter being another group of master mimics. Finally, we arrive at the last clade, which includes our main subject, the mantises in Mantidea. Surprisingly, their closest relatives are the cockroaches and termites in Blattidae. So let's talk about the mantises, which are fascinating insects in the order Mantidea. With around 2,400 species, spread across 33 families and 460 genera, these creatures are as diverse as they are captivating. Commonly called praying mantises due to their prayer-like stance, the name mantis actually comes from the Greek word for prophet, alluding to this iconic pose. But don't let their serene appearance fool you. This posture is a cunning hunting strategy. By keeping their front legs bent, mantises are primed to strike the instant prey comes within range. Most mantises are ambush hunters, and their folded front legs help them blend into their surroundings, resembling twigs. They can patiently wait in place, without moving, for a long time. When their prey gets close enough, the mantis strikes with lightning speed, using its spiked front legs. This attack is so fast that it can be difficult to see with the naked eye. Once captured, they start eating the prey from the head, ensuring it can't escape. While they typically feast on smaller insects like flies, crickets, and moths, larger species aren't picky. They'll also go after small birds, lizards and frogs, and even mammals. Their front legs, often described as raptorial, are a masterpiece of evolution. These legs are primarily composed of a femur and tibia, much like other animals, but they are exceptionally muscular and covered in sharp spines. These spines help mantises hold onto their prey, preventing any chance of escape. The femur connects to a robust structure known as the coxa, which joins the rest of the leg to the body. In mantises, the coxa is unusually strong, helping to prevent injury from struggling prey. Given their relationship to Blattidae, it's perhaps unsurprising that mantises likely evolved from cockroach-like ancestors. The earliest known mantises date back to the early Cretaceous period, but fossils are rare. Only 37 were known by 2022. Some mantis nymphs have been found preserved in amber, while adults are only known from impression fossils in rock. These prehistoric mantises displayed the distinctive characteristics of the order, such as their raptorial forelegs, indicating that they were already highly specialized for hunting by this time. Mantises are highly adaptable, adjusting their hunting strategy based on the environment. If ambush isn't feasible, they'll stalk their prey by moving very slowly, relying on their camouflage to avoid detection. They inch closer to their target until they are within striking distance. Mantises have excellent vision and are the only insects known to perceive the world in 3 dimensions. This is crucial for them, as it helps them judge when they are close enough to strike. Their binocular vision, similar to that of humans and many predatory vertebrates, allows them to perceive depth. While they've evolved binocular vision through convergent evolution, mantis eyes are vastly different to those of vertebrates. They have compound eyes, which are common to many insects, arthropods, and invertebrates. Compound eyes are large structures composed of thousands of tiny lenses, each capturing a part of the visual field to create a mosaic-like image. This gives mantises high-resolution vision and aids in depth perception. Mantises possess disparity-sensitive neurons that detect differences between images seen by each eye, enabling precise depth perception. This is not unique to mantises, as other animals with binocular vision, including humans, have similar neurons. However, what's unique to mantises is their reliance on movement to judge distance. If the object is stationary, they struggle to determine distance because they've evolved the capability for targeting moving prey. To compensate, mantises have developed behaviors like motion parallax, where they move their head side to side to create the illusion of motion in a stationary object. This behavior, known as peering, helps them gauge distances. Additionally, they have a sensory organ called the sensilla, with hairs that provide feedback, allowing them to refine their head movements for more accurate distance measurement. Surprisingly, mantises have three simple eyes known as ocelli, in addition to their compound eyes. Ocelli help with light detection and stabilization, particularly during rapid movements like flying and jumping. Mantises are incredibly effective hunters. They can turn their heads almost 180 degrees in either direction without moving their bodies, allowing them to remain camouflaged while scanning their surroundings. They have selective attention, focusing solely on their target and ignoring distractions. Their highly evolved antennae detect pheromones, chemical cues, and vibrations, aiding in hunting and finding a mate. Now let's venture into the captivating world of mantis reproduction. The male mantis uses his antennae to detect pheromones released by females, signaling that she's ready to mate. Approaching with caution, the male knows he has to be careful. Female mantises are often larger and might mistake him for prey. To reduce this risk, the male performs a courtship ritual to signal his intentions. This ritual varies by species and can include specific movements and postures designed to show the female that he wants to mate. If the female is receptive, the male will transfer sperm using his claspers, specialized structures that help him hold onto the female and ensure successful insemination. In some species, the female practices sexual cannibalism, where she may eat the male either during or shortly after mating. Although not all species exhibit this behavior, and it doesn't happen in every encounter, it does provide the female with additional nutrients to aid in egg production. After mating, the female lays her eggs in an ootheca, a frothy substance that hardens to protect the eggs. She attaches the ootheca to a plant or other surface. Depending on the species, an ootheca can contain dozens to hundreds of eggs. Once they hatch, the nymphs are fully independent and self-reliant with no parental care. Mantises typically live for about 8 to 12 months, with females often dying shortly after laying their eggs. This isn't directly related to the act of reproducing, it's simply the natural end of their life cycle. Interestingly, this helps explain the timing of sexual cannibalism, as the male is also near the end of his natural life. Mantises reach full sexual maturity at this stage, reproduce, and then die shortly after. In temperate regions, this coincides with the end of autumn, ensuring that the young are protected from freezing conditions in the ootheca before hatching in the spring, ready to continue the life cycle. Given their remarkable traits, it's no wonder mantises have been a symbol in human culture for thousands of years. One of the earliest references to them is found in the oldest known Chinese dictionary, the Urya, where the mantis represents courage and fearlessness. In parts of Africa, mantises are considered good luck. Ancient Greeks believed mantises could show lost travelers the way home, while in ancient Egypt they were seen as minor gods that guided the souls of the dead to the underworld. In Nicaraguan oral traditions, mantises are preserved as Madre Culebra, a symbol of female authority. In the modern age, female mantises are most portrayed as deadly femme fatale, no doubt due to the sexual cannibalism I mentioned earlier. Mantises are perhaps best known for their associations with martial arts. Two fighting styles, northern praying mantis and southern praying mantis, draw inspiration from these insects. Despite the similarity in their English names, these styles were independently developed, and both emphasize aggressive, close-range fighting. As I mentioned earlier, there are 33 families of mantises, so we won't cover all of them in this video. Instead, I want to focus on the orchid mantises. These are in the family Hymenopodidae, commonly known as the flower mantises. This family includes 238 species across 34 genera, known for their flower-mimicking camouflage. This highly specialized mimicry varies greatly by location and habitat, resulting in incredible diversity within the lineage. Flower mantises include some of the most stunning species, such as the spotted and striped Chilodonoptera and the tiny ghost mantises and Philocrania that resemble dried leaves. The elongated bark-horned mantis in the genus Ceratocrania, found in Java, Borneo and Sumatra, uses its long body to mimic a twig, complete with small green spots to mimic moss. But today, we're focusing on perhaps the most striking mantises of all, the orchid mantises of the genus Hymenopus. There are 3 species in this genus, but only Hymenopus coronatus is well known. Hymenopus coronatoides is endemic to the Yunnan province in southern China, and Hymenopus bicornis is found throughout southeastern Asia, although little is known about them. Some consider them synonyms of H. coronatus, adding to the confusion. For the rest of the video, we'll focus on Hymenopus coronatus, commonly known as the orchid mantis. Found in the rainforests of Southeast Asia, including Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, the Philippines, and Singapore. This mantis is also called the walking flower mantis, the orchid blossom mantis, or the pink orchid mantis. There's a clear theme in these names, and one look at this mantis reveals why. So let's dive into the mesmerizing world of mimicry. At its core, mimicry is when an animal appears similar to its environment or other organisms. This can take many forms, with defensive mimicry being the most familiar. This includes camouflage, where the animal blends into its surroundings, or Batesian mimicry, where a harmless animal mimics a harmful one to avoid predators, like hoverflies imitating the coloration of wasps. However, orchid mantises are masters of aggressive mimicry. Aggressive mimicry is essentially the opposite of defensive mimicry. It's when an animal benefits by appearing more harmless than it is. Camouflage can serve both purposes, depending on the context. Many ambush predators use it to their advantage, like certain snakes and hunting predators such as snow leopards, which use camouflage to stalk their prey. Let's play a little game. Can you spot the insect in this photo? It's hard to spot, right? If you haven't found it, then here it is. This is an orchid mantis, but it is almost indistinguishable from the plant. As you can see, orchid mantises take mimicry to another level. By resembling the flowers of orchids, they sit and wait for pollinators or other prey to approach, striking when they get close enough. These mantises are typically pink and white, matching the colours of their preferred flowers. They can change this coloration to better match their environment when required. Their legs are uniquely flattened with a membrane to better mimic flower petals. They walk on 4 legs, holding up their raptorial forelimbs to complete the flower illusion. Additionally, a small black spot on their abdomen mimics a tiny insect, making them appear even more like part of the plant. Their behaviour adds to the deception, as they sway side to side, mimicking the effects of the wind. Interestingly, newly hatched nymphs use Batesian mimicry, resembling the red and black assassin bugs and the genus Rhinocorus, which are known for their powerful bite and foul taste. This is advantageous to help protect them from predation. After molting, the nymphs change to the characteristic flower-like appearance. The orchid mantis's unusual structures may serve another purpose behind mimicry: gliding. The lobes on the femoral segment of their legs may facilitate gliding, similar to structures seen in some vertebrates, but much less common in insects. While adult mantises can fly, their subadult nymphs are wingless, making gliding advantageous. Recent research from 2024 has shown that orchid mantis nymphs are the best-known gliding arthropods. These nymphs have been observed at gliding at a 52-degree angle, compared to the 75-degree angle seen in some gliding ants. A 90-degree angle would mean dropping straight down, so the 52-degree angle is close to a 45-degree angle, where the insect wouldn't lose altitude at all. This makes orchid mantis nymphs the longest recorded distance gliders among insects. Interestingly, their gliding ability is not affected by their size, as larger individuals have larger lobes to support their weight. However, the lobe size decreases when they reach adulthood and can fly, eliminating the need for gliding. Given their striking appearance, it's not surprising that orchid mantises are popular in the pet trade. They live for about a year, display fascinating behaviours, and are enjoyable to feed. If their temperature and humidity needs are met, they are easy to care for. They consume various insects, including flies, beetles, crickets, and bees. Breeding them is relatively easy too. Just ensure the female is well fed before introducing the male. While we know little about their wild populations, their wide distribution suggests they are likely doing fine. However, it's always best to obtain captive bred individuals when getting a new pet. Because of their popularity, they are relatively uncommon and expensive to obtain. Ultimately, I do prefer finding such interesting animals in the wild, but that just might be my personal preference. helped by the highly restrictive laws when it comes to animal ownership in the country where I live. I hope you enjoyed this video. Orchid mantises are truly fascinating predators in the insect world. Known for their aggressive mimicry, they also boast unique features like the gliding nymphs. Thank you for listening, and please suggest another group of animals you'd like to see me cover in the comments.